Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Darryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I was pleasantly surprised to see a lot of interest in the last video that I did. Not the last one, but a couple of videos back where I talked about my paintings coming out of the closet. I've got over 100 paintings in there. And I started pulling them out and showing them to you guys. And then the next day I did a video talking about how in recovery I actually got interested in doing my artwork. Those two videos are back about 5 videos if you want to see them. Okay, so I decided to do another one, and I have not looked at these paintings. So it's totally a surprise as I pull these out. It's kind of more fun that way. So I have no idea which paintings I'm going to pull out. And I also got a comment from one of you guys saying that he enjoyed or she, I'm not sure if it was he or she, enjoyed the backstory. Like I had a bit of a backstory for a few of these, pieces of art, and they enjoyed the backstory. So I'll see if I can do that in this video too. First video, I do have this one painting picked out. I won a lot of ribbons at state fairs. We have state fairs here in Connecticut. The Bethlehem State Fair is one of the biggest state fairs in Connecticut, and it's also I entered for adult professional oil and acrylic painting, and it's one of the toughest categories to enter in this particular fair. There was hundreds of artworks entered, so I did not think I was going to win. This was back in 2014. My girlfriend Audrey at the time talked me into entering my artwork. I was doing it privately in recovery, and Audrey looked at it and she says, "Your art is great. Why don't you enter it in competitions? Why don't you sell it?" And she actually kind of worked as my business manager for the first paintings that I sold, and she was doing a great job bringing in like $400 to $800 the very first paintings I sold. So she was a great business manager. Okay, I want to show you this one painting. This is the first painting I ever entered in a fair in Bethlehem. If you Google Bethlehem, Connecticut, Bethlehem State Fair, it's a big deal in Connecticut, and I entered this piece, and I was surprised because it actually won. Here it is. I put it aside. It actually won second place, and it won People's Choice. I don't have that ribbon right here. I entered it in Harlingen State Fair too, and it won first place. I've got a whole mess of ribbons here. These are all from winning competitions, painting competitions at different state fairs. All right, well, I want to show you guys another painting. This I actually sold about 5 pieces just like this. When a piece sells good, like this one, so this one just a lot of people bought this particular painting, so I would paint more of them. Like I told you last time, I paint different versions of it. And the same thing with this one. I call this heroin because it reminds me of the drug heroin. The hollowed out eyes, and it was hard doing the shading. If you look close, the shading was it doesn't really do it justice here. The lips are purple for a reason, because I've seen people overdose before. They turn blue. Their lips turn blue. Their face turns blue. So the name of this is heroin. And this is probably about the 5th or 6th painting I've done. The other 4 or 5 are already sold. And they sold for, we'll say 3 digits. For a small painting, they did good. All right, let's start taking them out of the closet. Okay, here's one. I actually picked this one out. I did a painting, a mural, I guess you could call it, full-sized wall painting at a methadone clinic. They asked me it's a methadone clinic I initially went to 10, 15 years ago. And they asked me if I wanted to put my artwork on the wall. They asked me for a mural, and I really didn't have a mural in mind. So I painted this. And I did some lettering down below, like old style Gothic lettering. And it said, every day is a gift, not a given. That's what I put on there. And it's a big I'll see if I can put it in the thumbnail for you guys. I have pictures of this large wall painting, and if I'm not mistaken, it's 15 years later, and that painting is still up at the methadone clinic up the street. This recovery it's called, in Bristol, Connecticut. So I've also done paintings for AAO, Artists Against Overdose, where I donated my artwork to a silent auction in Hartford, Connecticut. I don't think they're having this particular auction anymore, and it was to buy Narcan. So I donated my artwork, and they would buy Narcan to supply police, firemen, public buildings. So Narcan would be on hand for people that overdosed. All right, let's look at some more. I like this one. This is one of my favorites. I like the rowboat on the beach. I like the way the beach came out. And if you look closely, there's footprints. I don't know. I always draw very solitary scenes. I like cloudy, dark scenes where the person's missing from the painting. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's an introvert thing or what, but all right, there's another one. I'm surprised this one didn't sell. My family is mostly from Maine, and the very top of Maine, actually, but I've been down along the coast, and this reminded me of the coast of Maine. It's like a dock, and all the businesses out on the dock, for sales and all that stuff. One of the hardest part of this painting was the doing the waves. I do each individual wave like with different colors, like light on one side, dark on the other side, and a different color up the middle. If you look, they're actually they're just swoops. They're all little swoops. Oh, the seagull's good too. Where's the seagull? Ah, there he is. And if you look, you can see the shadow and the splashing at the bottom of the pole. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Here's one that I was never sure if it was finished. I got this far, and I like the way it is, but it doesn't look finished. I told you in the last video, I've learned that at a certain point, I get this gut feeling that when a painting's done, it's done. You know, and a lot of times part of me says, but Darryl, it's not done. You know, and every time I've listened to that little voice, I've ruined the painting. So now when I first get that gut feeling that it's done, I just put it down and I don't do any more. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. So it's done. All right, let's see what else we got. Here's a nice one. This reminds me of dirt roads here in Connecticut in the fall, and I particularly like the way these trees came out. When I first started painting trees, I really didn't, in the years I've been painting, I really study the clouds and trees and grass and the shading. When I first started painting trees, I automatically assumed that the bark was brown, the wood is brown, and the leaves are green, but they're not. They're not at all. The leaves are all different colors. Purple, orange, red, green, blue, and the bark is never brown. It's usually a grayish, and that's what I'm especially proud of the way the tree came out. It wasn't easy to do that, and the shading, and the dirt along the edging came out good too. The sky. Okay, I'm surprised this one hasn't sold yet. Okay, what do we got here? There's one that I really wanted to show you guys. I got this idea. I wanted to take a picture frame and make it look, and do a painting inside the frame to make it look like I was looking out or into a window. And I found this frame, I think it was at a TJ Maxx, and it had mirrors in here. So I bought the piece, and I took the mirrors out of the four panes, and I did a painting of a beach scene. It's supposed to be like a beach house, and you're looking out the window, and you're actually looking out the window the wrong way. This looks like the outside of the window, but you're supposed to be looking at it from the inside out. So it's not quite accurate, but we'll skip that. And I like the way the sand came out and everything. Okay. Oh, here's one. I remember like the humid summers here in Connecticut and the rope swings that me and my friends used to swing on. Like it would be hot and humid first thing in the morning. And that's what this is here. The sun is just coming up, so you can see the sun coming through the fog, the humid day already starting. And you have a river running here. And the rope swing hanging down kind of all still in the morning fog. The mist, the early morning is just still. And you can see that with the, you see the little knot. I don't know how long it took. It probably took a whole day just to paint that rope. You know, I mean, what do they say? The devil is in the details. And I really pride myself on, you know, making it as lifelike as possible. So you see there, it's wrapped around the top of the tree. So it's supposed to be a rope swing. I was initially afraid to show this. A lot of the Black Lives Matter thing was blowing up when I did this piece of artwork, and it had nothing to do with lynching or anything like that. And I was a little afraid to display it, because people at first might not, you know, might get the wrong impression, but that was just in my head. I worried for nothing. All right, which I often do. Here's one. I got this idea from the Led Zeppelin. I've seen guys from when I was like 40 years ago in high school. They would get this tattoo right here. The Led Zeppelin. There was this. I don't know I don't know if it was Led Zeppelin 4. It had the angel coming down, or no, maybe it was Swan Song. Maybe that's it. And that's what I did this. The wings came out especially good. The shading, the face. It almost looks like Jesus if you just see the head, and it almost looks like he's wearing a crown of thorns. So I mean, I've kind of cropped this in some of my pictures online, and it almost looks like Jesus if you just take that right there on the cross. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's a good one. There's a lot of Victorian homes, especially in the town next door to here, Thomaston, Connecticut. It was named after Seth Thomas clocks, originated back in the 1800s. And there's a lot of Victorian homes, and they look a little something like this. And this was around Halloween. I always paint in season. If it's summer, I do summer scenes. If it's winter, I do winter scenes. If it's fall, I do fall scenes. I always paint in season. I cannot paint a winter scene in the summer, and vice versa. All right. There's a lot of detail in this too. If you look, the wrought iron fence, the foundation came out very good. It took me a long time to do the windows. I actually made a cutout, I don't know what you call it, a cardboard cutout to do these, a template. That's what I was looking for, a word template to do the windows. I wouldn't call that cheating, would you? Nah. And the top, the wrought iron on top came out very good. Looks like the Munster's house, but not quite. It actually looks like a real house around here. A lot of homes around here. So it came out, the detail came out very good there. Oh, I want to share this with you guys too. I always sign my name, Darryl P, and I always sign it in gold. Always gold. I don't know why gold. I always like silver for jewelry, but there's a reason I use Darryl P. It's a homage. It's a nod to NA and AA. Because in AA and NA groups, like I would say, hey, hi, I'm Darryl P. I'm a recovering addict. So that's kind of like, most artists will put their first initial and their last name, like D. Potter. And I don't do that. I put Darryl P. Like I said, it's a homage to NA and NA groups. Let's see, how long are we running? 14 minutes already. All right, we'll do one more, and we've got hundreds more to go. There's more up on that shelf. There's tons more down here. Oh, here's a good one with a story to it. I got fond memories of having crushes on girls, like when I was 15, 16, before I had a car. And I would go up to another neighborhood next door to my neighborhood, like, I don't know, maybe a 10, 15-minute walk away. And I dated a lot of girls. There was like 10 girls. There was like 3 different families that had like 3 girls in one family, 3 girls in another family, sisters. And they were all beautiful. So me and my friends would always go up on this street and play like football on the road and everything to show off for the girls. And I dated a lot of the girls there. But at night, before we got called inside, like I'd have to be home at like 10 p.m. or whatever, I remember sitting on the curb, and just talking to a girl sitting next to me. And those are some of the best memories, some of the most romantic memories I have, that pure, innocent love. I remember, like, I hadn't had sex yet at that age. Well, besides, if you heard the story, I'll do the story where I was actually molested, but that doesn't count. When I was molested, the guy brought a 33-year-old woman home, and I was only 14 years old, but that doesn't count. So, I was still innocent at this age, and I just remember the kisses were so explosive. Like I'd get a kiss before I walked away when the girl would get called inside, and they were just so hot, and it was so romantic. But this is what it reminded me of me and a girl, sitting on the curb in the streetlight and just talking. And you can see I tried to make it look like fall, because I always remember it was in the fall, like when we went back to school. There'd be new girls, new people, new families and stuff, and there'd be a lot of romance and dating and stuff in the fall, going back to school, dances and whatnot. And this is one of my best memories, sitting on a curb, 10 o'clock at night, before we get called in by the parents, talking, and then having that kiss. Am I going to get a kiss before I go home? That fond memory. That's what this reminds. That's what this is about. Unfortunately, nobody else gets this. Like, they look at this painting and it never sold. Nobody knows what it's about. People think it's 2 robbers sitting on the side of the street waiting to break into the house. Nobody got what was in my head when I painted this, unfortunately. All right. I don't want to take too long. I don't want to bore you guys with a 30-minute video, so I'm going to stop here. And I put all the paintings that we've done so far right here. I didn't move them from last time, so the fresh ones are still in there. And we're going to do more coming up. Let me know if you have any comments, any questions on my artwork. Please write in the comments and let me know. Have a good Thursday.